became a viral document, got millions and millions of views. In the vision of making a distraction-free smartphone, I got about $200,000 from angel investors. So we reworked the plan and we made it in 16 crores. That was $2 million.
Do you think there was some the first business plan was kind of maybe not planned out right to anticipate all
No,
this?
no, no.
Hi everyone, this is Vivek Srivastava. Welcome to my channel. And today we have with us a returning guest. Nishant Mittal is with us, and he was the very first podcast guest I had on this channel. So that was a long time ago. Thank you so much for joining us, Nishant. Nishant is a serial entrepreneur. He's also a musician, a storyteller, and he's been involved in multiple industries and multiple startups, ranging from manpower onboarding startup to a distraction-free smartphone startup, and now he's also involved in an AI startup that should be pretty interesting. And I'm really looking forward to speaking to him about all his various entrepreneurial journeys. And specifically, I wanted to focus on when an exit has to be done from a startup, as well as when a startup is a very good idea and you should get involved in it. So we'll get into all of that. Thanks again for joining us, Nishant.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
So, last we spoke, you had been involved in a distraction-free smartphone startup, Seneca, right? So, what happened there?
Seneca was a mass movement. Seneca began as an open pitch. I wrote an open pitch for Seneca, which became a viral document, got millions and millions of views across platforms on the internet. My presence on the internet essentially became a thing because of open pitch for Seneca. Open pitch for Seneca led to a lot of angel investors investing in the vision of making a distraction-free smartphone. I got about $200,000 from angel investors based out of US, Europe, India, right? Majorly US and Europe.
Nice.
Then India. So we also got 1,100 people to sign in for the paid waitlist we made for the product. So Seneca launched a waitlist where we essentially wanted to gauge who is actually interested in buying the product. So it was a paid waitlist which got like 1,100 people within a couple of months, right? Then we got a lot of people, good people in the industry to support us. Sachin Shenoy sir, who's the co-founder, CTO of Healthify Me. He made something that we used as a prototype for Seneca. Then a lot of things happened. I mean, the bottleneck with Seneca was that it wouldn't have or couldn't have been done in 1.65 crores, right? It needed about 16 crores, $2 million to actually fly. Because without that money, that project wouldn't have been possible, essentially. It was not a purely software product, which could have just been launched, in a bootstrap kind of a way. We needed an MOQ placed with an OMD, offshore ODM, offshore design manufacturer. We needed a minimum, and those people work on minimum quantities. So you at least have to order like 5,000 phones, right? And if you're ordering 5,000 phones, you need to spend like $5,000 on each phone. So you need 2.5 crores just to get the phones, right? On which you load your OS and then you sell. And on that OS, you need to have a very, very good control on the technology part, because you don't want the phone to go into somebody's pocket and then blow up, right? Because then that crotch becomes you are responsible for that blowing up, essentially, right? So we needed money and we couldn't raise the 16 CR, essentially.
Wow.
So the beginning was $5 million because that would have been the adequate amount. We had a whole business plan for that. 5 million seemed a bit difficult, so we cut it. Then we got Arvind sir, the founder of Gioni phones.
Mm-hmm.
So in the 5 million plans, we had 30,000 MOQ, right? 30,000 phones. 30,000 phones at $5,000 each. You can imagine it was about 15 crores parked, 15 to 18 crores parked for getting the phones. Then he came on board. He joined in as an advisor, and he said that I'll let you have just 5,000 phones. So your MOQ cost comes down from 18 crores to 2.5 crores, which was awesome.
Hmm.
So our funding ask came down from 40 crores to 28 crores because we saved all that money on getting the phones, right? But 28 crores was also a bit of an issue. So we reworked the plan and we made it in 16 crores. That was $2 million, right? A lot of conversations happened. A lot of family offices joined, a lot of VC firms. Everybody was interested. This was like a mass movement, right? 20 million views on the internet. I got about 40, I have 48,000 followers, 80,000 followers on LinkedIn, Substack, all because I started writing about Seneca. Unfortunately, that fundraise didn't happen. So I returned everybody the money and also the waitlist guys. So Seneca couldn't fly. Also, then after Sachin Shenoy sir moved on, I tried to bootstrap the product with a techie. So we had a very good techie, and we had the ambition of just like 1,100 people who are in the wait list. We wanted to give them something, right? So if you signed up for the product, you should have something. And what we wanted to do was we get off the shelf 5,000 phones or 1,100 phones, 1,000 phones, right? And then we sell that phone for 15,000 bucks. And it's like a makeshift kind of phone. It's not like an industry grade product, but it's a phone which you could use. It's an idea that is implementable, right? So we wanted to give that for those 1,100 people. We thought that we'll be able to sell 5,000 to those people itself. But then the techie, my friend, he passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that was a very sad episode. He passed away. He
Great.
uh, we couldn't move forward with that. So that project essentially came to a halt.
Oh no. Well, a couple of questions arise from all of that. There was very fascinating, very interesting, and all the numbers that you provided. I'm sure that'll be very interesting to the viewers. But my one question is a couple of questions. One is, you mentioned that your original business plan, mate, was like 15 crores or something. So would you say that
40 crores, $5 million.
Acha, 40 crores?
Yeah.
Do you think there was some the first business plan was kind of maybe not planned out right to anticipate all
No, no,
this?
no. It
It was
was
okay.
perfectly planned, and there
Okay.
were no faults at planning per se.
Okay.
Because $5 million, 18 crores, that's about 2 point some $1 million went into procurement of phones itself. 10 CR was R&D, and 10 CR was about 10 to 15 CR was marketing. So it's as perfectly uh, fleshed out plan, and in
Okay.
that plan, you have a pretty good projection of how you can actually sell to 1 lakh people. And we were not going B2C. So it's not like we were getting a lot of action from B2C. A lot of people were signing up for the phone,
Hmm.
but our core market was B2B,
Okay.
where we were selling to coaching institutes and all
Coaching
of those people.
institutes. Okay.
Yeah,
Because
the coaching,
they
because
want
they
distraction free.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that was the play. That these coaching institutes, while selling their education packages,
Hmm.
they add a 15,000 phone to that so that they can give their students a more focused pursuit in the academic goal. We sell the phone, they get a cut, right? That was the business model. And we had an MOU, a letter of interest from one of the biggest coaching institutes of the country.
Nice.
And they were also willing to invest in us. It's
Nice.
just that they couldn't invest in us, be the anchor investor, be the anchor customer,
Hmm.
be our testing ground. They couldn't have been everything. So we
Okay.
needed an institution to step up on the investment front so
Hmm.
that we could service this customer,
Okay.
right? And VCs, unfortunately, in India, it's a pretty network oriented play,
Yes.
and we didn't come from a network, right? So we were bootstrap guys who showed promise in the product through the online traction.
Okay.
So we showed people that, hey, you wanted a proof, here's 1,100 people who have paid for the product, right? Now, is this proof enough? Okay, here is 80,000 people who've signed up on the mailing list. Is that proof enough? Here's, so we showed proof in all sorts of ways. There's 20 million people who have expressed interest in the content. 20 million views, right?
Hmm.
So that means a lot. But at the end of the day, when it came to decision making, it was like, who is investing? Who's investing? Who's investing? So everybody in the circle was like, who's investing, right?
Okay.
And yeah, so that's basically how this thing panned out, which
I
was
see.
very weird.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what you mentioned about investors in India. Yeah, I mean, I'm having a very tough, challenging time with that. Obviously, see, my startup is completely different. It's more just a app, and it's not a product, so, like a phone that you had. And what I'm running into is where they want to only get involved when it's absolutely a safe play for them. They very risk averse and very sort of show us the numbers, get to this point where you have so many users, so this much, this earning, this, that, then only we'll be interested. And then I'm like, okay, at that point, I don't need you. If I can get to all that myself, why do I need you then? So that's kind of the catch-22 situation I'm running into anyway. But could
It's
you?
all networks. So I'll tell you, I'm running a software play.
Hmm,
Right now, we've gotten support by the founder of one of the leading like companies of India, the best company. I won't reveal the name of the founder,
sure.
right? But the best startup to have come out of the Indian startup ecosystem, public company, uh, super successful. So the founder CEO of that company has chosen to back us, right? And he backed us. And as soon as he backed us, everybody starts talking to us. Everybody starts evaluating us.
Got it. Got
Right?
it. That just ties
Eh,
into the same risk averse thing because now they
yeah,
see
so
ki
it's
this guy is.
basically a
Yeah.
network. Yeah, it is a network. And if you can be a part of that network somehow, anyhow, it's
Uh-huh.
good. If you can't be that, it's bad because
Okay.
it's not the startup, because these people, they've been funding lousy startups since time immemorial, right? And
Mm.
those startups are stories for another time. They are long stories. But how all of those investments have proven to be, it's no secret, right? So it's not the quality of the startup. A lot of entrepreneurs think that maybe we are going wrong somewhere. It's not. You're not going wrong anywhere. It's just you're not a part of that network. If you can be a part of that network, it's great.
So
If you
how does
can't be,
one become part of a good investor net? I'm not even going to
I
ask you a
mean,
specific with the one you're talking about, but generally, how do you?
the founder that helped us, he was a client in one of my first company.
Okay, so you knew kind of by
So
chance you knew.
yeah, it's all luck. It's all
Okay.
luck by chance. It's nothing. I mean, there is no formula, of course. People who say that they've worked towards something, they're just deluding themselves, maybe, or definitely deluding other people. Because this is all, very, very network oriented. If you're not a part of that network, luck by chance moments happen, serendipitous moments happen in very, very different ways, in very nice ways. And you
Right.
can only hope that
Right.
now started writing on the internet, right? When I started writing on LinkedIn, I I was doing it for Seneca, but those writings became so viral that people started recognizing me, right? So I became a part of that network because of my views on startups on LinkedIn. How's that? Doesn't make any sense, right? Like, if you think about it logically, why would my writing about startups and VCs essentially bring me into the VC ecosystem? That's a joke, right? I mean, I'm criticizing VCs, but VCs are suddenly recognizing me, and they're like, oh, this is the guy we should talk to. That should not happen, right? Ideally. But it happens. So anything can happen. Visibility happens, leverage helps, right? So if you're visible, if you're very visible, and if you're prominent on some certain matters, it might help. But at the end of the day, it's just rolling a dice.
Right. 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 Yeah, I found that too. That definitely luck is a component. When, how large a component it is can be debated, but but it's definitely a component for sure. But then, of course, you got to do things right, and you got to have expertise in what you're doing and do it the right way. And
And that's not necessary either.
oh, really?
No, it's
Okay,
not necessary. You don't have to have expertise in what you're doing. You don't have to have good things planning out to get funded, if that is the question.
okay. No,
That has
I
nothing.
meant overall success. Yeah, funding is another story. Yeah.
I don't know about overall. So the more macro you go, the more is the scope for BS. But the point is, if you're talking about startup in general, right?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the quality of the organization or the people. That's
Okay.
what I mean. That's what I'm saying, and I'm saying it in full responsibility. It's
Really.
nothing to do with the quality of the organization or the quality of the team to get funded. And the proof is in the pudding. Look at the companies who are funded. Do you think those are quality companies?
So how is that happening then? Just they're pitching a good story? Is that the
It's network. It's network, and I've been saying that it's network and network alone. So people try to intellectualize
okay?
what they're doing. So if you're talking to VCs, they're gonna intellectualize that, oh, this number, that number, the TAM, the TOM, the
Right, right.
Samsung,
Right.
this metric, whatever.
Huh.
They're gonna talk about those things. So they're trying to intellectualize, to earn respectability for the work they're doing. They're trying to buy respectability for something that is totally dumb. That's what I'm saying. So it's basically that, you got to say something, right? You're deploying money in companies, right? And those companies are turning out how they're turning out. So what do, you try to intellectualize, you try to say that these are the metrics that we have, and these are the metrics which we look at as we want to fund somebody. And this is what you got to do,
Mhm.
right? And then you look at their portfolio and you're like, how did you fund this company then? Right? How did you fund this company then? This company didn't have metrics when you funded it. This company didn't have metrics. This company didn't have metrics. This company didn't have metrics. This company still doesn't have those metrics which you're talking about, even after getting funded. So what are you talking about? Right? And to answer that question, it's just like an awkward silence. Or it's like, oh, this person had done something in the past. We knew that person this way. We knew that person that way.
Right.
So they're trying to buy respectability, right? But the core truth is that it's a network operation, and you have to be a part of that network. If you can't be part of that network, it's too bad. If you can be, you can totally to create a bucket of shit, and it'll get funded.
So, how about you mentioned, you were funded by US and European investors. What about those investors? Well, is it the same story, network only, or do they have a
No,
different?
no, no. People were angels. What
Okay,
I was talking about, this was
the Indian.
institutions,
Acha, yeah.
Indian institutions,
Institutions, yeah.
right?
Okay.
VC funds. Angels have a mind of their own,
Right.
right? So if you talk to my angels, Shankar sir or Arvind sir or whoever, right? The founder of the great company, the listed company, startup, they have a mind of their own. VCs don't have the mind of their own.
Tell me, do you is it generally that first you got to go to an angel and get funded by an angel, and then a VC will fund you, or will a VC fund a startup at an early stage? Um,
So again, this is we're trying to put some science to it, right?
right.
Uh, it's not that
Acha.
there
So,
is no
a VC
yeah.
could
A lot of
conceivably.
my friends, a lot of my friends got funded without having angels on their board. But
Oh,
usually,
yeah. Sorry.
methodically, it makes sense to have good angels
Mhm.
who can then pull your story out. Who can help you, right? Reach out to who can open doors for you.
Mhm.
If you've got good people supporting you, even with small checks, very small checks, right? They come and support you because they have their skin in the game now. Even if it's a little check, they care about you. They'll take your call. They'll try to open doors for you. And when they do that, it might help, right? So it might help, but that's not the only way to do it, right? A lot of people, in fact, most, if not most, a lot of people, yeah, I'll stick to that. They don't need that, so they get a VC round, and it works for them. So
Yeah, well, no, my question was more what I've run into is VCs tend not to get involved in early stage.
that is not true.
Okay, that's
Once
not true.
again, I told you that's not true.
Really?
So
Okay.
VCs get involved in all sorts of stages, you
Sure,
know,
sure.
uh, pre-revenue, even pre-product,
Wow.
even pre-idea, right? So they get involved in all sorts of stage. If they're saying that to you, that you are too early, that's because you're not a part of that network.
Got it. Okay. Wow. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah. So
interesting.
it is intellectual dishonesty, which
Okay.
is which should be called out, which is not called out enough.
Well, there's a lot of defects in the Indian startup ecosystem. I'll tell you that. I mean, there's very little support, just overall, mentorship, advice, government. There are all these government programs, but then when you dig deep into them now, there's so many criteria and all that you inevitably end up not qualifying for them, and then you don't get any government help either. Yeah, yeah. There's a lot that needs to change. Anyway, coming back to your one other thing I noticed was that you obviously when you were running into challenges, you pivoted, right? And you tried to do something else. And then, of course, your co-founder passed away and all of that. Was there any other pivot you could have done?
For Seneca,
Yes.
yeah, thousands of things could have been done, right? For Seneca, I mean, we could have essentially um, be a software only company. We could have been another app like Your R, right? Same mission, a productivity app, and so on and so forth, which basically helps people, with time management on smartphones. But we didn't want to do that. We believed in a particular solution, and that solution is what we wanted to pursue. And so we didn't. We wanted to make a phone, and it was pretty clear. Right.
You've been through this process where you had to end up, wind down Seneca. Do you feel that a lot of startup founders end up holding on too long for, emotional reasons, and they should pull the plug earlier? So,
Well, that's a very important question, and it's also the hardest. You never know. So one angle is to a story that uh, if something is to work, it works instantly. If something doesn't work, it never works. That is one hypothesis. That if something is not working, right, it's not gonna work. The other hypothesis is that you've got to persist. Persisting is very important, right? So these are the two ends of the same argument. How do you pursue an idea? Should you persist or should you find something that clicks instantly, right? What I've realized is the first thing makes more sense. The instant pivot kind of a situation, that if something is working or might work, right, it'll work instantly. So if your thing is not working, maybe it works, but not in this form.
right.
So let's say if you're holding on to something, you're choosing to hold on to something, it makes sense to essentially change the way you are looking at this thing. Because I'll tell you, this particular product that I'm building, the AI thing, you know, it got funded pre-idea. Like even when the idea wasn't crystallized, it was a very vague thing. It got support from angels before all of that. But at the same time, Virtual Voter, which was my last company, the social network focused on polls, it didn't get funded at all. For one reason or the other, angels backed out, whatever, right? And we persisted. We took it, to as far as we could. But it makes sense for you to change instantly because some things, things click very instantly, and it makes sense for things to click, right? And if something is not happening, it might not happen 6 months later, 1 year later, 2 year later, and then you'll have wasted
But
those
how
two
do you
years.
know that the investors are not coming in because you're not in the network and actually it's a good idea, but it's, because you
If
already.
it's a good idea, it click, right? It'll click instantly. It'll have some traction
So you're
on
talking
its
about
own.
traction, okay, and not just investors.
Yeah. Tractions in the investment ecosystem, traction in the product ecosystem, traction amongst customers. Anyway,
Right.
you have to have some win, right? Some small win in any area. It
Right.
could be investments, it could be customers, it could be anyway, right? Good ideas. I mean, what is supposed to click? Again, it's a lot of luck, but what clicks instantly. What doesn't click just doesn't click at all.
Right.
That's what I've come to realize.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you were talking about your AI startup and how it's clicking, and that there was one thing I was planning to ask you about was uh, when did you realize that this was the thing to get into? Like this is a good idea.
So we were building Virtual Voter, and we had done a great job with Virtual Voter. We had a lot of good news to share, but it was clear that it was going to be very difficult to monetize, and we weren't instantly, and we weren't able to raise money for it. And the thing we wanted to pivot it to, we didn't really want to pursue it. So Virtual Voter was a social network focused on polling. The next step we were looking at was putting money into it, like Polymarket, right? Something like that. We thought that putting a real money element to polls would help us monetize. But then we deliberated on it. We didn't want to do it. We didn't want to be another betting app or a matka kind of a platform, right? And luckily for us, a few months later, government banned real money gaming altogether, right? So it's good that we didn't pursue. So when we were closing down Virtual Voter, And we had also capped the money that we were going to spend on virtual voter. We were very clear that we were not going to spend more than 20 lakhs, let's say, on making the product, on marketing, on testing it, on everything. We're not going to go beyond that. And we had crossed that limit. Now it was a question on whether we should recharge, spend another 20 and see what happens, or we pull the plug. And I was of the view that let's not spend any more of money into this, right? If we are not being able to get institutions or anybody to back us, let's just focus on something else, right? So we were winding up virtual voter, and then this opportunity came along. We were exploring AI, and this is a product I had built in 2018 without AI, right? When I was building my first company, Testament. So this is something that we were building at that time, but with AI, it was suddenly possible. So we started building it, and it's like, this is what we're going to do. And we got instant support. From the very get go, we got our angels from Seneca. They said, we will back this, right? Then we got good people, as I told you, unicorn founders. We are still getting a lot of interest. People are investing in us, and we are doing really well, the product and everything. So it's very interesting, and all happened instantly, right? Good things I've realized happen instantly.
Right, right. No, I know what you
That's
mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, I've run into that myself where if something's gonna happen, the doors just cut open. And then
yes,
on
exactly,
and when it's not gonna happen, you just try and try and try and it's just not happening, and
exactly.
it's you have to recognize that. Wow, yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. Before we continue, I want to take a quick moment to tell you about something I'm really excited about. My startup app, Finitee. Are you tired of scrolling endlessly and still feeling disconnected? That's why I created Finitee. It's not just another social app, it's your connection engine. With Finitee, you can instantly discover events, hangouts, and people around you who actually share your vibe. Post about what you love. Be seen by people who get it and turn online into offline. Finitee isn't just social, it's real, it's local, it's you. Download Finitee today and live your vibe. So, is there anything else you can tell us about the AI app? I know it's still kind of in stealth mode, but is there anything that you can sort of say that gives us any learning, anything you've learned about this experience with this one?
I've just learned that you have. I mean, the product. It's gonna be out sometime soon, so you're gonna see it. We want to build human connections. We are very clear on what we're trying to do. It's a pretty solid business model, but that is always the case. You always try hard. You always do your best. You do the best with the information you have. You try to soak in more information. You always try hard. I've been trying hard forever, right? Whatever has worked with me, I've realized that there's an element of serendipity, an element of luck, an element of leap of faith, right? Which people take in you. If that happens, things happen. If that doesn't happen, you're just, as you said, beating the door, which is essentially a wall, right? So learning is that having the goodwill, working on the goodwill, the people around you, the network, so to speak, that goodwill is very important, you know, because someday or later, right, that goodwill might just
Right.
might prove to be something good. So I never make relationships because you're going to get something out of them. That's not why you should make relationships. But if you are an interesting person, if you're trying to do the best you're trying to do, maybe the relationships which you made way, back in the
Right.
future, back in the past, they're going to come back and help you in a way that you can't see. So that's what I've realized. And a lot of it is luck. So a lot of people, they beat themselves on lack of success, if you can call it that, right? That I couldn't do it, that it's not in your hands. It's just,
Right.
it's, you can do the best you can. It's not in your hands. So stop beating yourself. It's totally fine. It's all luck. As Woody Allen sir said, right? In Match Point, the man who said, I'd rather be lucky than good, saw deeply into life. People are scared to admit what a great part of life is dependent on luck. They are often afraid to see what part of life is not in their control. It's like a match, a tennis match, where a ball hits the top of the net. And sometimes it goes forward. With a little luck, it goes forward and you win. And maybe it doesn't and you lose. Match point. So that is it. I mean, let's not take ourselves too seriously.
Right.
Let's not be about it too much because, these people, just look at the stories that are coming out. I'll just give you an example of an academy. I was talking. The company was valued at $3.4 billion. Was it valuable? Was it that valuable ever? Right now, it's valued at 300 million. The company has raised 850 million. 850 million in 10 years. So if you would have put 850 million in an index, it would have doubled in 7 years,
Right.
right? So it would have basically two and a half times. That money would have been 200. The 850 million would have been, uh, you know, uh, how much? $2 billion.
Right.
Just if you put it on index 10 years ago. But somebody chose to fund an academy and they put $850 million in that company. And in 10 years, that money is 300 million. So my question to you and everybody who's watching, who will watch is, was an academy ever worth $300 million? Oh, sorry, $3 billion. Did it deserve 850 million? Right? How did it get 850 million in the first place? The company never made money. The company never did anything, right? Which worked, so to speak. How did it get $850 million? It was luck.
Right.
Now, would those founders be successful? Would be called successful? Of course, they would be called successful because they could raise $850 million.
Right.
But did they do anything to earn those $850 million? Or did they prove to be worthy of those $850 million in any step of the way? No, they didn't. They just were at the right place at the right time. The whole VC bubble was frothing up, right? In 2020, 21. They were very lucky in that bubble play. They got $400 million, got valued at $3.4 billion, and then everything went up smoke, right? That is just blind luck playing out. Right place, right time, right people supporting you, right? So don't beat yourself too much. It's okay. It's fine.
Right.
That's my learning.
All right. Well, we got into a lot of all that, Seneca and the AI. You're a very creative person yourself. You're a musician. Do you feel that helps you in the startup world, like the creativity you got in being a musician and coming up with music?
I mean, what I've realized is that people are usually, I mean, a lot of people, you know, uh, are boring, very boring.
Yes.
They don't have a personality. And I don't like interacting with such people myself,
Right.
right? So if I don't like interacting with people who have no personality, who can't talk anything beyond the little work they do, I would not want to be that person myself, right? So I I believe creativity, I believe adjacencies like this, like I play music, I'm a lot into films, I write a lot, right? These things help me become an interesting person. First of all, for myself, right? And secondly, for other people. Other people want to interact with me because, I have things to say, different things to say. I have different perspectives, which are very, very broad and, they're interesting. So it helps, definitely it helps, but mostly it is a way to not be boring. And that is very important. I value that in people a lot.
What would you say about the marketing aspect of it? In the sense, for example, your music, some of it took quite a lot of time to get viral, from what I understand. Maybe I'm incorrect in that, but So, did you learn about marketing from just that? Even like, were there any lessons you had there?
So that's exactly what I learned, even from music, right? It's all, a lot of it is luck. So you can do whatever I've been playing music for 20 years, right?
Okay.
But when things happen, they happen. Suddenly things start going viral. My songs have like millions of streams now. And the way that they've got those streams is just totally serendipitous.
Okay.
Okay. The way I got any visibility is totally serendipitous. So my friend, there used to be a friend of mine, very good friend, Ankita. She's now in Berlin. She was a very, very good friend of mine. And she liked my music, right? And my music wasn't going anywhere. It's just rotting on one obscure corner of the internet. And suddenly I started seeing a spike in my numbers, right? Spotify and all. I was like, how is this happening? And then I found out that a big music page, a music organizer had featured me. Okay. And I'm like, how did this happen? And then she told me that, hey, I was pitching your songs to different music organizers and distributors. And some of those people really liked your music. And these are one of those guys. They liked your music and then they featured you. So she was essentially behind my back without telling me,
Right.
right? Championing my music. He was being an ambassador to my music to these people. Some of those people picked up my music, then it got covered up, then it got featured by radio stations. So now my songs play on 104 FM, 91 FM, and so on. MTV, even though MTV is closing down, Song Due TV, and all of these places. Some malls play my music, and so on and so forth. So a lot of all of this happened because there was this person who believed in my music, and without telling me, she was actually championing. So it's all luck, right? And then I found out some randomly on the internet, somebody made a reel on my song, right? A video edit on my, and that got like 1.5 million views, just that. So it's sort of, and then other people started making reels on my
Using the
songs and
same,
stuff
yeah,
like.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, so it's totally out there. We blame ourselves too much. We give ourselves too much credit, right? We beat our heads too much. At the end of the day, we have very little part
right.
to play in this whole big thing,
Right,
right?
right, right. But still,
Yeah,
I would say one thing, just hearing that story is key, you have to still put yourself out there because if you hadn't made that song, then, it would
of
never,
course.
you had to
No, no,
make
no,
the
no. So
song, you
whatever
had to
I'm
have your
getting to,
friend.
I've got whatever I'm talking about the luck aspect of it. I'm assuming that you're already working.
Right. Well, no,
It's
no,
not a
it's not even
substitute.
just working, but also putting it like your luck improves the more you put yourself out there, the more the friends you have. So, like,
That's obvious. That I assume is everybody is trying to do that.
yeah,
They're putting their songs out. Every musician is doing what? They're putting their songs out, right? Every startup entrepreneur is doing what? He's trying to work hard to make a product. I'm assuming that those basics are covered,
okay, okay, right.
right? So the whole luck spiel has to have this basic covered that you're working really hard, you're doing everything, right? And then, of course,
Then the luck.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Right, right, right. Wow.
Hmm.
But continuing on more with the sort of marketing actions, putting luck aside for a second,
Mhm.
what? Tell me about your marketing with Seneca. I think you got your first 1,100 users to sign up even before the product was released. How did you
Even
do
the
that
website.
through the
So
website?
it was basically being interesting, right? I wrote articles on LinkedIn. I laid out my vision, and it was so it seemed to click with people. As I said, 20 million views. Right? People started signing up. They just started giving me money. They donated me money. Right? Seneca got about 1 lakh rupees in just donations. That hey, make this product all the best. Not investments, donations.
Wow.
Right?
Did those
So
donations come from mostly India or abroad?
India.
Acha, India. Wow.
I mean, people donated me like 30,000 bucks just because I wrote an article, right? So I wrote, and the writing went everywhere, and then people recognized that, oh, this is nice, and they decided to be a part of it. They helped me. They did everything. So if you look at my profile, people came on the interviews. I started something called Seneca Talks, where I told about smartphone addiction as a problem and so on. So people started coming, hey, I'm your patron. I want to do this, bring me on. I'm your customer. So people started coming to the fore when they were talking about this. This is what happens with good messaging. Sometimes it clicks, right? Instantly. So you've got to find out when you're marketing. So I read a lot. I've read almost every book there is on marketing, right?
Really? Okay.
Marketing, sales, advertising. I'm a big reader, of course. So that's what also makes me interesting. I used to run a campaign called 52 books in a year. I did that for 11 years. From 2012 to 2022, I read about 40 books every year, right? That campaign, 52 books. Could never read 52, but I averaged 40. So I've read all the books on marketing, sales, research, and so on and so forth. The messaging has to be very nice, right? Of course, the messaging has to be something that evokes action. That's basic, right? You've got to do that. And of course, whatever you're doing has to be interesting, because if it's not interesting, you won't be able to get people. And if you get people, then half of your problems are solved. So marketing is all about, first of all, having something that people want, and then saying something that people want to listen, right? And what I've realized as a secret is, say something that everybody is thinking, but nobody wants to say.
A little
So
bit of
say something.
controversy.
It's not about controversy. It's about insight. Say some insight, share an insight which people are thinking, but they're not willing to say. Take a risk,
Right. Okay.
right? Yeah. And that's where the value comes out.
Cool, cool, cool. So, last time I remember when we podcasted, you had mentioned about your, I think there were quite a few health challenges going on for you as well
Oh,
at the
yeah.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
So, how's things there? Are you better now? And did you have anything to say about that? Like what you learned through that process?
Oh, yeah. That was a very traumatic incident. Of course, I got tinnitus and hyperacusis right after I took the COVID vaccine.
Right.
That really screwed me up. I was on steroids for 6 months.
Wow.
My ears were hurt. Uh, I got ringing. I couldn't listen to anything. Even if somebody laughed close to me, I couldn't sleep the next night. And I got, yeah, my ears rung. It was horrible. But then I found a bunch of medicines myself. So I researched, and then I found a bunch of medicines. I read a lot about that. And I tried those medicines on me, and they worked. And they really helped me. And,
Were these like allopathic, or were they Ayurvedic, herbal?
they were essentially vitamins in different ways.
Okay.
So yeah. So now that story is viral. Like I have like 2.5 lakh views on YouTube. People from America, like doctors from America and Italy, have had conference calls with me to understand my case. Thousands of people have gotten help with that particular solution that I offered. So thousands of people, not just, you just check out that right, Nishant tinnitus or just tinnitus. It's like the most well-known video on tinnitus,
Really?
essentially. Yeah. So that helped a lot of people. I learned that you can't trust anybody. You can't trust the doctors. You can't
Oh, yeah.
trust the medical establishment, right? You can't trust, these people don't know anything. And you've got to read deeply as much as possible. Be, it's your life. You've got to take control, and you've got to be very, very sure of whatever you're taking, whatever you're doing. These people kept giving me steroids. I developed warts on my face. And it was just horrible. I mean, I used to feel tired all the time. I got infections because steroids, they reduce immunity, immunosuppressants, right? The WBC. So when immunity went down, I developed all sorts of different infections and problems, allergies, and so on and so forth. It was just horrible, whatever happened to me.
Wow.
And then they said, "हमें समझ नहीं आ रहा क्या हो रहा है हमें." And that was like the best doctors across Delhi. I spent lakhs on the treatment. These people, they don't
Yeah.
have,
And
yeah.
in
So you've
India,
got to
I would say it's even worse, the medical quality.
I think India is much better than every place else. If you look at Indian healthcare, it's actually better, right? Indian tourism, Indian medical tourism is rising because we are much cheaper, much better.
Cheaper
But
for sure, but I don't know about the
even the
quality.
medical care, right?
I
These people, I mean, if you go to US or if you go to UK, you won't get an appointment to get the medicine. Forget about getting the care. I mean, unless it's an emergency situation where you're just gonna die, you won't get an appointment, right? And it's a truth. So we are much better in that. It's not about India. I'm talking about medical fraternity in general. It's very bad. So you've got to read very deeply, and that's what I did. And even now, I take my medicines, the medicines I found out, and they help me. They've helped me a lot, and they've helped thousands of people. So many people every day they write me letters on Instagram. Hey, thank you. I took your medicines. They helped. Thanks a lot, and so on and so forth. I'm like, welcome.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
happened.
Wow, that's amazing. So, but while you were, what I find amazing is that while all this was going on, you were still working on your startups, and you still.
Yeah.
So that must have been challenging. That.
It was hell. It was very bad. But yeah. It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, my life changed after that tinnitus episode. So the doctor told me that I would go deaf and I could lose my hearing anytime. And there were moments where I actually felt like I was deaf. So my ears were clogged, right? and I was a musician. I've been playing music for my entire life,
Right.
and that was horrible. I couldn't listen to music. Forget about playing music. I couldn't listen to music, and music became painful, physically painful. And that moment, I understood that there's nothing. Life is very fragile. You don't know anything. Anything can happen to you anytime, and it's just don't worry about this shit. It's just that's what I realized. My life changed completely after that episode.
But now you're okay, right? And I
Yeah,
guess
now I'm okay. Yeah, now I'm
wonderful,
better.
wonderful. Yeah, yeah. Is there anything you can tell us about your what you're doing nowadays in terms of just maintaining your health and ensuring?
I'm very particular with my vitamins. I like I take vitamins. I try to be good with my food. The usual things. I'm not
Right.
much of a
Workout.
gym rat.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not. I unfortunately can't find time for that.
sure.
Even though I want to. But I used to cycle. I used to cycle 70 kilometers a day. I used to be a marathon cycler essentially. That has gone down because Delhi's air is very bad.
Oh yeah, God.
So
Bombay
yeah,
also
so not
horrible.
yeah,
Bombay
so
is
not
also
much I can do.
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
In the world of vitamins, what do you have any particular brands, or do you believe like the synthetic vitamins, as opposed to sort of food-based vitamins, or do you have any sort of advice on that?
unfortunately, what I've found out is that India's food is also trouble.
Oh yeah,
The food heat is also pretty much juiced out, right? So it doesn't have nutrition and a lot of problems with food in general. So ideally, we should not use vitamins at all. We
right.
should not take vitamins,
Yes,
right? Because the food we eat should be able to do it, right?
right.
But there are things like pernicious anemia. There are things like, there's a medical things which basically whatever food you're eating, it's low quality, it's no nutrition, and then your digestive system itself is hurt so much that it's not being able to absorb the nutrition that you're getting. So the food you're eating, you're not being able to absorb the vitamins of that food because of conditions on your gut, the gut health, and so on and so forth. So I read a book about gut health as well. Very important. So you've got to
Probiotics.
preserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I realized is responsible for most of your health,
So could I
like the
ask
gut.
which brand you purchase?
I'm not brands focused, not at all.
Okay, so
Yeah.
okay. I myself, the only reason I was asking, I myself get something from the US, a multivitamin, multimineral type of thing from the US. Is what I.
God, I don't take the multivitamin. So
Okay.
what I found out is that the multivitamin has very, very little composition of all vitamins. It tries to do everything, right? And then in the process of doing everything, it does nothing.
Okay.
So what makes more sense is to figure out the vitamins that you're actually lacking, the nutrition that you're like. Let's say you're vitamin D deficient. Indians are vitamin D deficient. Vitamin B12, right? Vitamin B7, right? All of those things we are very, very deficient, right? Or even if we are not deficient, we are in the borderline low end
Right.
zone, right? Those are the vitamins you need to attack. And if you solve for them, suddenly good things happen. That's what I've realized. So vitamins, multivitamins, not a big fan, but gut health
Right.
helps, and specific vitamins, they help a lot. Yeah.
So, but how would you figure out what you're lacking in? I mean,
Tests, get
test.
tests done.
Acha, acha, you can test it.
All sorts of tests. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's what you did. You tested, and the test revealed that you were lacking in all of this certain things. And then,
Of course, of course.
yeah.
If not lacking, it was not that great. Yeah.
Right, right, right. Okay, wow.
Because then if you take vitamin D and if you take overdose of vitamin D, it could lead to calcification and vitamin D toxicity, right?
Yes,
So
yeah,
you got to
be,
study.
yeah. Well,
So yeah,
there's the water-based and oil-based vitamins, right? So
vitamin D is essentially fat soluble only. It's
right,
not
right.
water soluble.
Because the
So
water-based ones you can overdo, and it's kind of okay because you just kind of flush it out. But yeah, but the oil-based
yeah,
ones
you
are
get it.
dangerous.
But vitamin D essentially is fat
Yeah,
soluble.
yeah.
So if it gets, if you
Too
dose
much,
on it,
yeah.
it could be a problem.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you're continually doing one startup after the other. When Seneca ran out of steam, did you feel sort of tempted to go into just a job? and no give up the
I
entrepreneur
didn't
thing.
want to. I never wanted to do a job.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to make things. I was tempted. A lot of people offered me. I was very lucky to get great offers.
Right.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't get myself around it. So that was never an option.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm the same way. I just would rather do my thing. So that was very interesting, very fascinating. Having gone through what you have since the last time we podcasted, is there anything you would like to share with us? Some learning, some wisdom since then? In the last couple of years, what has been
When did we talk last?
about a year and a half ago, something like that? You were still you were deep in Seneca at the time.
Since then, I've just realized that you've got to be very easy on yourself. That's my. You just don't put yourself. I've lost people now that I've told you.
Right.
It's So what I've realized is that you've got to take care of yourself, very good care.
Right.
Do have fun, focus on having fun because that's very important, and everything else can follow. And if it doesn't, don't beat yourself up too much. It's okay, it's fine. You can give another try in something else. It's
Right.
it's fine. Don't let yourself get swayed by some BS which says got to. It's just don't be heavy on yourself because life. You don't know life itself how fragile it is,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
yeah, so you just be very easy and everything will work out eventually if it has to.
Well, cool. Wonderful, Nishant. That was just a great talk. Um, is there anything else you wanted to share? Any last words of wisdom besides that?
No,
Uh,
no, no.
yeah.
No words of wisdom. I recently read Woody Allen sir's book, the autobiography. It was called Apropos of Nothing, right? Apropos of nothing means concerning nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing.
One thing that from our first podcast, one thing I was inspired to do was I came up with my list of 10 best fictional books, novels, that I'd read.
Okay.
And I actually recorded a video, but I never published it because the thought was that it won't really fit in my channel. But I did do that. I was inspired to do that and kind of reflect on all the books I'd read. I've read a lot of novels. I've read a lot of course, non novels, means non-fiction books and technical books, of course. But I've read a lot, and so I mean, it was fun going through all my memories and figuring out which the top 10 were. Would you? What are the some books that stand out for you? I may ask.
Okay. Uh, are we talking fiction? We talking non-fiction? What are
Let's
we
stick
talking?
with fiction. Let's have fun. Non-fiction is a little boring, or right?
Okay. Sure. No, non-fiction is not boring. I love non-fiction actually. I've only been I absolutely love non-fiction. I think
But no,
you know
I meant not. I mean, yeah, obviously, I didn't mean it that way. But what I meant was not like textbooks, like Korsky books. Like, okay.
no Korsky books though I don't read. I never read Korsky books. Tabhi to I didn't go to I
Yeah.
right. So let's say if you're talking fiction, I a book that really shaped my life was Fountainhead. I
Oh
like
yeah,
Fountainhead.
I've read that. Yeah.
Yeah, Fountainhead, Catcher in the Rye. Then, of course, I am a big fan of James Headley Chase, the detective fiction, the novellas.
Oh, really?
Right, they've inspired a lot of cinema. I love that.
Okay.
I also liked a lot of Khalid Hosseini,
I'm
the
sorry,
two
Pala?
books, Kite Runner, Khalid Hosseini,
Oh.
Kite Runner, and The Mountains Echoed. Right,
Mhm.
Thousand Splendid Suns, Kite Runner. Those two books were extraordinary. Then I like Catch 22. Since you referred Catch 22, that was a good book
Oh
as
yeah, I
well.
read that. That was funny.
That was Joseph Heller, very nice.
Yeah.
Then I have to look. There's the best book I've ever read
Yes.
is Nirmala.
Really, Nirmala.
Premchand.
I haven't even heard it.
Premchand.
Acha,
No,
Premchand. Yeah.
it's the best book I've ever read in any language, and
Really?
it's a fiction.
Okay.
Yes, so Nirmala is definitely a piece. Then there's so many books. There's Shesh Parichay, Sharat Chandra. Right. It's a beautiful, brilliant book. Then I'm looking at.
Have you read any of the James Clavell's?
Sorry.
James Clavell. Like
No,
you
no,
must have
no,
heard like
no.
Shogun, the
Yeah,
serial.
yeah, yeah. I've heard Shogun.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
It was based on his like 500, 600 page novel, which he wrote I think 50 years back or something, and all his books are just incredible. In my top 10, two books from his are in my top.
Wow, very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
No,
So
I
I
haven't
definitely,
unfortunately gotten the chance
yeah,
to
yeah.
read him.
So yeah. Anyway, cool, cool. Let's it's good to end on this kind of fun and note on what books gave us pleasure. And
Yeah, yeah, a lot. I mean, I'm missing out on a lot of names. I'm sorry about that.
oh, no
I
problem,
wasn't
man.
prepared.
This is about just fun. Just it's what.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have not been reading a lot of fiction lately. So I've come to appreciate autobiographies a lot. So I find those very entertaining. I find them beautiful. Right, a
You
life well lived is as good as fiction.
Right.
Is what I found out.
Sure,
So,
sure, sure, sure.
auto-
Yeah, yeah. Autobiographies, yeah, definitely. The big one, autobiography of a yogi. That things changed so many lives. I don't know if you've read that.
no, I haven't read it, but I've heard about it. Autobiography of a yogi. I've not read it.
Paramans
Not read.
Yogananda. Yeah, that's not a good one.
Yes.
Siddharth by Herman Hesse.
Oh yeah, yeah. That I've read. That's beautiful. That's not an autobiography though, but yeah, it's beautiful. I liked it. I liked it. Loved it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, that's closing on a nice, fun note there. Thanks so much, Nishant, for joining me, giving the viewers the benefit of your wisdom. I hope this AI startup really works for you and you get the fame and success that you richly deserve. And
Thank you.
users, viewers, Nishant's information will be down there in the description below. Also, please like, comment. Let's have a lively discussion around everything we've learned here. And other than that, thanks, Nishant, and we'll.
Thank you. All the luck is most needed. All the luck is most needed. So thank you so much.